It's way past time I dispense some indiscriminate justice!
G'day guys, Duckville here. We're going to have a replay from MLG again. Hope you guys have been checking out some of those recent ones I've been putting up. There have been some incredibly awesome games that have been going on at MLG. Obviously it's just finished. Today is Monday for me, so everything is just sort of finished a little while ago, and I'm just home from work deciding to cast some more games because I know there are some replays from MLG that didn't get cast, of course. It's some of you guys would like to see. Now hopefully some of you guys like to see some Terran action, because here down on the bottom side of Shattered Temple we actually have FXOqxc. A little bit of play around with the alphabet there. We got a few letters going all around the place, and he is going to be against the blue Terran up here in the top side of Shattered Temple. This is going to be VTPokebunny. Pokebunny, one of the younger players in the StarCraft scene, has been doing a fantastic job himself. You know, playing around in all sorts of things that he's been doing, and he's been doing a great job of it as well. Now, QXC, of course, is one of the very big players from the FXO clan, is actually going to be heading over to Korea very, very soon. I just saw on his Twitter, and he's probably going to jump on board on the Korean ladder and hopefully, you know, bash up some Koreans on the ladder there and hopefully compete in the GSL and do FXO proud. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, as we can see here, this is actually from game 1 of this particular series. Now, some of the reps that I'm going to be casting are going to be a complete series, if they are actually pretty good to watch, and others will be just like this one, will just be a singular particular cast. So we'll go from there and see what happens. But as we can see, both of these guys going for pretty standard sorts of openings at the moment. We've just got the racks there from Pokebunny. He's going to be setting that up, and also we have the same thing going on in QXC's base down the bottom. So Shattered Temple, obviously the long distance cross spots there, it obviously means that you'll probably be seeing more of the standard sort of TvT, given that both of these guys won't be scouting each other out for just a little bit of time, of course. And in fact, if we have a quick look, these guys are actually sort of almost putting their building placements in the exact same spot. Obviously Pokebunny's supply depot isn't off to the side, but either way he's getting the same sorts of things done. He is actually, well, we actually had a orbital command just done there from QXC, and the orbital command from Pokebunny is also done. So we have a factory coming up from Pokebunny, so he's probably going to tech into something pretty standard, I would assume. We've only got one gas, so it's probably not going to be too much Banshee pressure or anything like that. Maybe a one Banshee you can do off the one gas, and we'll see if he takes a second gas. Of course, in TvT or pretty much against any sort of Terran, it is very important to have a look at what they're doing with their gas to make sure you can see if they are going to be going for that high sort of Banshee tech or anything and far in between. Now, of course, this is the MLG version. I just forgot to quickly mention, of course, it's pretty relevant in this matchup, but this is the MLG version where you've got this little supply depot on the bottom of the ramp of each base so that the players can't actually do any bunker shenanigans. Now, as I mentioned, of course, pretty relevant in this particular matchup. So we've got just this scouting marine just scouting across. Also, the other difference in this particular map is that you cannot spawn close ground spots. So as we can see here, you can't actually go across this way to check out where your opponent is, because they won't be that close. They will be either cross spots through the air, as we can see here, just sort of going across this way, and of course the other option is up here. So now that QXC is actually scouted out, as we can see, he's scouted out this particular area, so he knows that Pokebunny is up the top. Hellion battle's going on in the middle here. It looks as if Pokebunny may not be successful in this battle. His Hellion is trying to retreat. Some Marines come up to help out their buddy, and they do a good job of that. Now this Hellion's probably going to have to get repaired. You don't want to send that guy into battle with only 6 health. He'll fall over as fast as anything. Meanwhile, the command center is actually going up pretty quickly here from Pokebunny. He's got out, as we saw, the one Hellion, getting a tank out as well. Not getting any tech off the tech lab just yet, but he probably will be grabbing something, I would assume, quite quickly. Probably the siege mode, but we'll see what happens. He is getting another tank out, so he's probably just waiting for a little bit more of this gas to start rolling in. He does have four harvesters on the supply, on the refinery there, sorry. So he's just a little bit overburdened there with that refinery, but not to worry too much, of course, because, you know, the more gas the merrier, but we'll see what happens. We've got the Hellion just getting a little bit of a repair there, And in the middle, we actually have these 2 Hellions from QXC just controlling that middle portion, of course, as we can see on the minimap there. That means that you can actually get some decent vision around the middle. It does not mean you can control all of the attack paths, and as we can see here, we actually have QXC going for a drop. We've got a medevac filled up with 8 Marines. These guys are going to go in across the side and then probably try and drop into the mineral line and say hello to those SCVs that are there. A little bit of a distraction here from QXC, just poking around the front, trying to burn up some of those Marines. That guy got roasted there. He's not going to be having a happy day. And the Hellions are still trying to get in the front there. There is a tank, of course, which we'll dispose of then quite quickly, but up the back, we do have this drop coming through here. Nice little drop there with the Marines spread out quite nicely. They are going to go to town on those SCVs. Only a mule falling. In fact, I'm not even sure if that was killed, but the Marines have done an okay job so far. They've distracted those SCVs from the mineral line, and there they go. They have taken a few kills there. The tank has come up along with a few Marines, and they are going to dispose of the rest of those, and the medevac is going to not get away with any Marines. As we can see, you can sort of just see in the cargo position there of that medevac, it does not have any extra Marines that are tried to save. It's not like Saving Private Ryan, where it's got a couple of guys left over at all. Meanwhile, QXC attempting to expand behind this pressure. He's got a command center, which is just done, as we can see there, getting the orbital command, so he's going to have that as soon as that is done, and he'll probably drop a mule and then switch it over to the natural expansion. A Viking is out as well for QXC, just making sure he's got all of his bases covered, and no pun intended. Meanwhile, the medevac not covering anything there, just flying straight over those Marines, and in fact spotting that there is a little bit of a push coming here from Pokebunny. He actually does not have his siege tech just yet. It is on the way, but however there are still quite a number of units here which QXC will have to contend with. The tank's having a little poke there at that Marine, taking that one out. The SCVs are coming down. The SCVs may be used to meat shield or perhaps to repair the Viking and the tank, and it looks as if these guys will have to be very careful with how they actually position themselves at the moment. The medevac once again coming into danger and just deciding to head off to the side there. Not sure why QXC hasn't picked that one up and put it with the rest of the army, but he is now in a much better position now that siege mode is done. Going to siege up these 2 tanks, and he'll be quite secure here for the moment. But as we can see there, that medevac getting repaired by the SCV. Do need to repair that one, of course, because it was quite damaged. But it looks as if Pokebunny is going to go for the gold. Hello. And the gold is going to be a very interesting move here from Pokebunny. If he can take that, secure it, and then get that economy pumping, of course, that will be a massive benefit to him once he has the mules sitting down on the gold. They will be absolutely huge in terms of boosting his economy, but QXC is probably going to have something to say about that once he spots that. He does not have any idea that what is going on just yet, but you can assume that he'll have a look quite shortly and see if Pokebunny has gone for anything like that. Given that these units were actually just sort of not in the middle of the map trying to control the watchtower, given that he did have a superior force. But now that siege mode is just about done for Pokebunny, there it is. He's going to be able to head down here and put his own siege pressure on. A Viking on the ground, not often you see that in a TvT, but the Viking is going to help try and defend against this incoming push. There are 4 tanks for Pokebunny, 2 tanks for QXC at the moment. One of the tanks gets taken out. Some of these Marines are getting absolutely splattered all over the ground by the 2 tanks there, and the 3 tanks and a couple of Marines are going to just waltz inside here. Not really sure what QXC is going to do. He doesn't really have too much on the ground. He's only got a tank, a Viking, a couple of Marines. As we can see, he is trying to get some more units out, but there is not going to be much happening here for QXC. Losing some Marines, losing mining time. He may even get a little bit troubled with that command center if the Marines decide to go for it, but it looks as if QXC is going to siege up those 2 tanks, loses both of them, a Viking as well. This is not going good at all for QXC. Just a little bit light on his defensive units and defensive positioning there, but it looks as if Pokebunny is going to back off for the moment. He has done the damage he needs to do. He's, as we said before, cost QXC some mining time, some minerals, some SCVs, and some mules, not to mention the tanks that were lost in the various battles. So brilliant little maneuver there by Pokebunny, sensing a little bit of weakness perhaps in QXC's defense and moving in for that attack. Meanwhile, back at the base of Pokebunny, he's gone all the way up to 6 racks now. We have 1 reactor on one of them and then a couple of tech labs on the other, so they're going to be grabbing some marine tech, and as we can see, stim combat shields are on the way. This is obviously why Pokebunny has been able to get a little bit of a superior force out compared to his opponent, because he doesn't actually have any of those tech components for those Marines, and in fact, speaking of which, QXC does not have that either. But as we can see now, Pokebunny's going to take this gold. He's going to be in a fantastic position. You can assume a bunch of mules are going to drop down. There's 2 of them. He can almost get a third. There he goes with the third one. And that is now going to start boosting his economy. Quick sticks, and have a look at that. We actually have Pokebunny up to 56 harvesters. He has been doing a fantastic job of keeping those harvesters in check and making sure he's getting really high on that economy. And as we can see, Pokebunny currently sitting up at around about 2.3k mineral income per minute, and he's going to be steaming away at his production facilities. You can assume that lots of things are going to be coming through here. We do have, we've obviously got a tank, we've got some marines, we've got all those upgrades coming through, +1 to ground weapons and armor, both on the way for Pokebunny. So he is going to have a massively superior force in just a moment. We'll have a quick look on the Army Tug of War. We actually, as we can see there, we've got the armor supply up at 65 for Pokebunny compared to the 41 of QXC, and QXC now trying to get a nice defensive position here with some tanks up on the ridge. Of course, they will have that high ground advantage where they can shoot and see as far as they can. 1 tank on the ground and a few marines trying to do what they can, but this medevac looks like it is going to be going into battle. There is a medevac coming in from Pokebunny here. It looks as if this has been spotted. A Viking was patrolling this area and takes out that medevac. Nice little cap there for QXC. He's taken out that medevac, which did actually have a few marines in it. These guys, meanwhile, will have to run away home and try and get what damage they can when they come in the other way. Meanwhile, just pretty much mirroring what was happening there. This medevac is definitely going to go down quick smart, and that goes down. 3 marines do get inside. The Viking gets taken out quite quickly there by those marines with their combat shield and the stim. Vikings and marines in the sky are trying to come down and stop that attack, and they do so quite quickly there. And we'll have a quick look at the income tab. We've got Pokebunny sitting at 71 SCVs right now. Meanwhile, and a little bit of a check of what's going on there from QXC, sends in 1 marine along with this Viking to just check out what's happening here. Sees that there are certainly a large amount of marines there, along with a lot of tanks as well. And Pokebunny is in quite a commanding position at the moment, given his economy power and the fact that he's just going to be able to absolutely slam out a lot of these units once he gets out of supply block. But have a look at that. He's actually currently sitting at 193 supplies, so he's not going to get too much further than where he is. But we do see that a couple of marines are going up the side of the map there, of the middle path, I should say, and they are going to be able to just sort of run through. But it looks as if, hello, look at all these forces moving through from Pokebunny. He has a total of, let's have a quick look, 72 marines on the map at the moment. A couple of them in this medevac, of course. He may use them to drop onto some tanks, and the tanks, if they are not careful, will be destroying those tanks which are on top. And here's the battle. We've actually got all these marines spread out quite nicely there, doing a great job stimming up, taking care of those marines, and that is probably going to be it there. Pokebunny dealing massive damage to QXC's defenses and destroying just everything in his path with all these marines. The marines, keep in mind, do have 1-1 stim and combat shields, so they're going to be ripping through everything, as we have seen just there. And now off to the side, in fact, Pokebunny actually going for this island expansion, which QXC grabbed in the meantime. But the tank is going to siege up, not going to do too much because there are just way too many marines here for QXC to contend with, and that is probably going to be it. We'll probably see a GG in a moment, but just a nice daring economy move there from Pokebunny to grab that early expansion, then even taking this gold up here and just absolutely going hardcore on those marines and the tanks. It just proving to be way too much for QXC to handle in this particular game. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you do want to see some of the other games from MLG, make sure you send me a tweet on Twitter. I am at DuckvilleLol, and I will endeavour to get those replays casted if you are looking for something in particular. Cheers.